Nagato is one of the most unique villains in anime because he didn't just fight Naruto, he challenged his entire belief system. Both are students of Jiraiya trying to find peace. How did Kishimoto make us sympathize with someone who killed our most beloved characters? Nagato was born into a cycle of war and grief. As a boy, he watched his parents die during the war, and that broke something in him. That's when he met Yahiko and Konan. They became an inseparable team, trying to survive together. But even then, Nagato struggled with morality and what was right and what was wrong. Yahiko is different from all the other war orphans. Even in all that pain, he never gave up hope. He believed that he could change the world. And at first, it sounded like a dream. When Nagato's dog died, Yahiko said that he will become a god and make all this fighting stop. And that's when Yahiko's dream became Nagato's. That's when the three of them created a group called the Akatsuki, which aimed for peace, especially in the Hidden Rain, which had been torn apart by war. Most of their members were war orphans just like them who shared their ideals and their belief that they wanted to create a better world. Everything was going smoothly. Hanzo betrayed their trust and killed Yahiko, and from then on, Nagato became Pain and would do anything it took to create peace by any means necessary. Pain believed that you could only understand one another by experiencing the same pain. Nagato saw the cycle of hatred and saw that there was no end in sight, so he took it upon himself to become a god and solve the issue of war and pain. His goal was to stop war by making people too afraid to start a new one, by ruling over the world and taking on the mantle of God, as Yahiko once dreamed. Kishimoto looked at the real world and saw major problems in this cycle of hatred that even people in the real world can't solve. This is why it's such a compelling character, because it's relatable and it happens all around the world with no solution. But more on that later. Naruto thought that he'd take this man down at all costs, no matter what it took. He'd take down the man who killed Jiraiya, who killed Kakashi, the leader of the Akatsuki, and did a lot worse. At first he said, "I'm gonna kill you and do whatever it takes to bring peace to the ninja world." But as he heard more of Pain's story, he understood what it meant to create peace, and what it would probably take. Naruto had no answer at first. He always thought he was in the right. Of course he'd protect his friends, and that would be just. He'd create peace by winning every battle, and by killing every opponent in front of him. But was that right? Now he starts to question what he first thought, and what he first believed. To me, some of the most interesting parts of Pain's character was the mirrors he had with Naruto. They were both orphans, they were both hated and isolated, they were both students of Jiraiya, and they both just wanted peace from Jiraiya's teachings. They just found very different ways to do it. But something more interesting is that Naruto doesn't just parallel to Nagato, but Yahiko as well. Before he died, he had the same orange hair, the same energetic energy on screen, and the same ideals for a better world. Yahiko died as he lived in the rain, with less economy and less things around him. And Nagato took those ideals and wanted to spread those ideals of Yahiko around him. And we see that Naruto is a perfect blend of Yahiko and Nagato, as he had Yahiko's ideals, which was what made him question his whole belief system. But Nagato and Yahiko were born in a place where they weren't able to prosper. They weren't able to do anything they could to win. They were in the rain, a nation torn by war, with no chances of prospering. The environment was the main change between Naruto and Nagato, and I'm sure if they were both in the Hidden Leaf, they'd be exactly the same. We saw that before he wanted to kill and use hate and revenge in order to kill Nagato, but now we see, after listening to Pain, he truly understands what Pain's mission is, and sees it as a noble goal. This is when he decides to give his answer to Nagato. He admits that he doesn't have an answer, but he will find one. He won't stop at anything until he finds peace, and he'll do whatever it takes in order to create a world where anyone can prosper. We have seen this story before in Naruto. We've seen how people can only understand each other through true pain, and experiencing that same pain. We see that Naruto and Gaara are connected to being Jinchuriki, and they can only be each other's true friends, and they can only truly understand each other because they felt each other's pain. When Gaara is taken by Deidara and Sasori, we see that Naruto won't stop at anything because they're both Jinchuriki, and they were both isolated by their village. They felt the same pain, they felt the same struggles, and that's why they truly understand each other, and he'd go through anything for Gaara. Nagato is surprised because he expected Naruto to be full of hatred and want to kill him at all costs, and he expected to die at that point. But with Naruto responding with no hatred, and truly seeing Nagato for who he is, just another human being led by different circumstances, he's surprised. And he's also reminded of Yahiko and Jiraiya, two of the people who were very close to him. And he saw that Naruto wanted to carry on those dreams, carry on their dreams of peace. And this was Nagato's main goal, peace no matter what it took, and even if that meant his death, that would be what it took. And then he starts to contemplate if he did do the right thing, if maybe pain wasn't actually the answer, and destruction was truly not the answer for peace. Because now he sees Naruto, a guy with the same hope that Yahiko had, that Jiraiya had, that they could find a better world. He chooses to believe in Naruto, and chooses to believe in his determination, and truly believes that he'll do it. And then he sacrifices himself, resurrecting those around him which he just killed in the leaf. This is such an interesting story in Naruto because it attempts to answer bigger questions. Was pain wrong? Can peace be achieved without pain? Is justice always subjective? And do we need to suffer to understand others? Kishimoto tries to answer these big questions, or at least pose them to the reader so they can think about it, as most shonen is just fighting the villain, no matter what, and trying to survive and win. But here, it's something more than just fighting, something more than just good animation. It's what people actually think and take away from watching the series. The writer of Naruto, Kishimoto himself, said he couldn't sleep and he was sweating and exhausted from writing this. It wasn't just Naruto versus any other villain, it was Kishimoto trying to answer bigger questions. He said he couldn't solve it himself as this is a very real problem in the world, and that he might have had a cop-out answer by just saying the main character should win as he was more powerful, pretending he had an answer even though he admitted he didn't, because it's hard to find an answer when this is a real problem in the real world. Some say Pain was right, some say Pain was wrong. One of the main themes of shonen manga is that you should always strive for hope and believe that there's a utopic or unrealistic goal of achieving something and always having hope that there's something better out there in the best possible way. This is kind of why Kishimoto had to write the story like this, because these are kind of the tropes of shonen and kind of how the story has to go on. This fight matters because it wasn't just about power, it's about how you respond to pain. Pain chose fear and Naruto chose empathy, and it was all about how you respond to pain, which is very real and something a lot of people face. The Akatsuki members all represented a different reason for why people go into war, and Pain's reason was peace through pain. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. It really means a lot. If you could like, subscribe, comment, or do anything to push this video, that would be amazing. Thank you for your time.